I'm Jackie Mori. Welcome to today's workshop, and it is called the Best-Selling Author Incubator Workshop. I am so excited that you're here. And before we start the main content, I want to make sure that you can hear me because there was one time about a month ago where I broadcast on Google Hangouts and nobody could hear me. So can you all hear me? Please type in the chat room. Yes, you can hear me, or no, I need to turn up the sound, and we can get started with the workshop. I want to welcome those who are here with me live. Hi, Leslie. It's good to be with you. Hi, Dawn. Joanne, welcome. Dawn, it's good that you're here. Thank you for being here. Teresa, welcome. Larry, May, welcome, welcome, welcome. Barbara, Rachel, and let's see here. I want to make sure that you can you hear me? Yes. Barbara says, good morning. Good morning to you too. Well, I want to quote billionaire Warren Buffett. He says, the more you learn, the more you earn. And today I'm going to be sharing some things with you. So I hope that you brought your pen and pad or whatever note-taking device is what you prefer. And I hope that you take copious notes because I am going to really go through the content faster than probably you're used to. As you can see, I have a whole lineup of things I want to discuss. Leslie, great to be here. Good. Joanne, welcome, welcome, Joanne. So for those of you who are here with me live, please type in your name and tell me where you're hanging out from. I'm Jackie Mori, hanging out from Seattle suburbia on this beautiful day. And I always like to start my webcasts, whether it's a webinar or a webcast. I host a weekly web TV show called the 21st Century Legacy Letter Show. I always like to start the show with an attitude of gratitude, and I like to cultivate our hearts, a posture of gratefulness. So share with us, what are you grateful for? I'm going to share what I'm grateful for. I am grateful, first of all, for you who are with me live. Secondly, I am grateful for the prophetic words that have been put out for this year. 2017 is going to be such an incredible year. Oh my goodness. So I'm definitely looking forward to all that unfolds this year. All right. Well, today, let me welcome all of you who are here. Joanne says, wahoo, I made it. Oh, I'm glad you can hear and see me, Joanne. Thank you. Barbara says she's hanging out from Denver, and Barbara is grateful for getting back to the garden. Awesome. Larry is hanging out from Destin, Florida. Joanne is excited to be here from Deland, Florida. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Joanne? Is it Deland or Deland? Because I do not want to mispronounce the city that you live in, right? Okay. Well, let's see here. Today, you're going to discover 3 needle-moving book writing hacks. You're also going to avoid one major roadblock that stops people from ever publishing their book. And you'll also learn the 5 steps in writing and publishing your bestseller, not just a book, but your bestseller. Dawn is hanging out from Houston. Hi, Dawn. Dawn, I know that you know this, but for those of you who don't, I used to live in Houston, Texas for 18 years, and now I live in Seattle suburbia. So welcome, Dawn, and I'm so glad that you're here. Joanne is grateful for this class. By the way, if you see that thing at the back there, that's a shofar. My husband, Jim, who is right now hanging out with our kids because it's the weekend, and he said, "Oh, you got this, babe." So he wanted to hang out with the kids. So he got me that shofar for Christmas, and I've been practicing on it. Maybe one of these days I'll be brave enough to try it out. But I mean, I've been practicing, so it takes me about 4 or 5 puffs before I actually get the sound out. All right, let's see here. Bobby is from Sparta, Tennessee. Bobby, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad that you are here with us. And okay, well, Seth Godin is an author, speaker, a best-selling author. And he said, leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. That's Seth Godin. So if you don't mind, would you be open to, I would like to ask you, would you be open to please sharing this broadcast on Facebook? And if you have Twitter followers, if you're on Twitter, can you please share it on Twitter as well? And at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see the Facebook icon and also a Twitter icon. If you don't mind posting on Facebook and sharing this broadcast, because I would love, and I really like for folks to learn some of the things I'm going to be sharing. And just click on that Facebook icon. It'll open up in a small window, or the Twitter icon, and then you can share it with your followers on Twitter and also your Facebook family and friends. And I would be so grateful. So if you'd be open to do that, I would be very, very grateful to help me spread some of these, because I really believe that 2017 is going to be the year for many of you who are here with me, whether live or on the replay, to author and publish your books. All right. Well, before I move on, let's see here. Joanne says, yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm glad that you have a friend who knows how to do the shofar. That's the shofar behind me. Leslie said, pen is poised in Zillah, Washington. Welcome, Leslie. Good to be with you. And Leslie is grateful for the avenue opening for a dream of Leslie's to write a book. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, I'm going to take a poll right now. So let's see here. I want to just do a quick poll. And here it is. Is writing and publishing your book one of the big goals that you've been wanting to achieve? Yes or no? Now, this is an anonymous poll. For those of you who have been with me and have been part of my web TV show, the 21st Century Legacy Letters show, you know that these polls by Webinar Jam are completely anonymous. I will not know who clicked yes, and I will not know who clicked on no. And so far, those of you who have participated said 100% yes. Awesome. Well, I'm going to end the poll in 5 moments. So if you haven't clicked the button yet, please do so right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end the poll. And right now, 100% of you who participated said yes. Writing and publishing your book is one of the big goals that you've been wanting to achieve. Fabulous. Okay, there's one more poll I would like to do. And it is, let's see here. There we go. What is the biggest roadblock so far that you have faced when writing and publishing your book? Is it because life happens and life has gotten in the way? Sometimes there are some friends of mine who have raised kids, and they had been wanting to write and publish their books since they were young mothers. And so they have waited for their kids to grow up, and now they're ready. So life happens and has gotten in the way, or is it procrastination, overwhelm? Remember, I will not know who answered what, okay? So just be authentic, be honest, and be a person of integrity, and we'll just get the poll here. 20% said procrastination. Oh, it's still changing. Is it fear of rejection, that people might not want your book, or that you might fail? Is it fear of failure? Is it health issues, or could it be financial issues, lack of focus, or the catch-it-all, some or all of the above? So I'm going to end the poll in 3 moments. 3, 2, 1. And right now, as of the end of the poll, 29% said that life happened to them and life had gotten in the way of them writing their books. And it's, of course, no condemnation. It's no fault of yours. You had to focus on the priorities of the day, right? And then 14% said procrastination was one of the biggest roadblocks that they faced when writing and publishing their book. 0% said overwhelm. 0% said fear. 0% said health issues and financial issues. 0% said lack of focus. But 57% said some or all of the above. All right. Well, thank you so much for your honesty and your vulnerability. Good morning, Sonia. Sonia's here, and good morning from beautiful, snowy North Georgia. Sonia, oh my goodness, we had snow here in Seattle suburbia. I mean, it's nothing like in North Dakota, but we had about an inch while we were on vacation over the Christmas break. Carmen, welcome. You are hanging out from Southern Colorado, and you have another health webinar concurrently, and you may You may complete on the replay. Awesome. Rachel, hello from Michigan. Hello, Rachel. Welcome. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, that behind me, oh, hang on. That behind me over there is the gift my husband gave. It's a shofar, and I've been practicing on it. So if you're wondering, what is that thing that looks kind of curved behind Jackie? It's the shofar that my husband gave. All right. And Carmen is saying that in Colorado, it's -7. Oh my, that is definitely cold. Okay, well, please take notes because I'm going to dive in right now into the content. Now, before I want to always start with a quote, okay? A couple of quotes here. An ancient proverb says, where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. What does that mean? When you and I don't have a prophetic vision, something that is in our near future, perhaps a year or this year or the next few years, we tend to cast off restraint. We lose focus, or we don't have anything to focus on, or we can squander hours and hours, some of us tens of hours of our time, if we do not have a prophetic vision. So I want to share a prophetic word that a trustworthy prophet gave last December 26th of 2016. And her name is Lana Vauser. Lana Vauser said 2017 will have an increased grace and acceleration for publishing. Publishing. I want for everyone who's watching live or on the replay to avail of the grace and the acceleration that is available to us this year. So that is the prophetic word that I believe applies to those of you who have wanted to become authors, have wanted to get your books published. All right. I want to share that, why should you listen to me? Well, I'm a multiple #1 international best-selling author. Here are just some of my books. I have one more, which is on Kindle, and these are also on Kindle. This one was a book that I co-wrote with my husband, Jim, and it's called Your 21st Century Business Card: How to Build Your Authority, Become a Recognized Industry Leader, Magnetically Attract Qualified Buyers, and Market Your Business 24/7. And I co-authored this book with my husband last year, and we have had so much fun writing the book. And this one I published in 2014. It's called Customer Loyalty 101. And so these have reached bestseller in several categories on Amazon. All right. Well, I also wanted to share with you that Jim and I have coached some students of ours, proteges, who, frozen. Is it frozen? Oh, Joanne just as it says on the top there, if you have any audio or video issues, please refresh and please consider using the Chrome browser. Okay, I want to maybe brag on some of our alumni, some of our graduates. These are 2 books, a book series that our friend who lives here has authored. It's called Dare to Dream, The Art of Co-Creating with God. And she has written 2 books, Volume 1, Building the Foundation, and Volume 2, Activation. And she reached bestseller status in both books. So let's see here. And Carmen is here, so I want to brag on Carmen. Carmen authored this book, Overcome Trauma Without Completely Falling Apart. Now, Carmen she calls herself a cool senior, and I completely agree. Carmen is a cool senior. If Carmen can author and publish her book and get it not just on Kindle, but also on paperback, then you can do it too. Carmen, I am so proud of you. I just want you to know that. And I'm holding in my hands Carmen's work. And in 90 days, Carmen was able to author and publish her book. Awesome. Okay. And I'm going to share some more of the other students who have graduated from the program that I'm going to be sharing with you later on. But in the meantime, I want to deliver a lot of value to you today. And Rachel says, congratulations, Carmen. Exactly, right? And let's see here. Barbara is here. So Barbara, I want to acknowledge Barbara, who's also one of our alumni. Barbara authored this book last year, and Barbara is going to do the masterclass this year again. And Barbara's first book is entitled Lean In Closer with God, because you can, right? So congratulations, Barbara. And Barbara reached bestseller status, folks. So I just want to let you know that This is not hype. This is not spin. A lot of programs that, maybe not a lot, but a few programs that we have been watching, there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of spin, and it's like a bait and switch. They they dangle a carrot in front of you, and then they bait and switch you. And so, Jim and I are, our parents raised us to be people of integrity, and it grieves us when we see folks just milking other people who are honest and hardworking, milking those honest and hardworking people for all the money that they have and not result in anything, right? So, okay, let's see here. I want to start now by sharing with you, because I promised you're going to discover 3 needle moving book writing hacks. Okay, here are the 3 needle moving book writing hacks. Hack number 1, use the power of stories. And let me share a little bit about this hack. Use the power of stories. We had one of our alumni, and she had the book that she published. In fact, she published 2 books through our master classes. The first book was locked up inside of her for, guess how long? 20 years. Some of it was on her computer, some of it was still inside her, and it was locked up inside of her for 20 years. And when she was part of the very, very first masterclass that we launched, she submitted her, she just wanted me to take a look at her draft. And I gave her some comments. I said, I'm not going to use her name. I'm just going to say, let's just call her Mary. Mary, I really, really like your content, but I would love to hear the stories behind how you came about, how you discovered these gold nuggets that you're sharing. And so from then on, every chapter she put in stories of how she gained those truths, how she gained those principles that were now a part of her, right? And her book just came alive. It was not, she called it bare bones, and it became an actual, so to speak, a word picture, a human being. It was not just bare bones minimum, like the dead, dry bones, but it came to life. Her book reached bestseller status, and she was so pleased with her book. Okay, why hack number 1? Why the power of stories? Because your book needs stories of transformation so that your readers can learn how to become better versions of themselves. Wouldn't you want to become a better version of yourself? Well, when you read stories of how people went from one state to a state of transformation, you love hearing those kinds of stories, true? So your book needs to have stories of transformation so that your readers can learn how to become better versions of themselves. All right. Hack number 2. Use the word imagine. Use the word imagine. When you use the word imagine, it taps into people's imaginations. It taps into this God-given gift of imagination. When you use that word, imagine this and that and this and that, you're not just engaging your reader on one level, you're engaging them on a whole other level, right? So hack number 2 is use the word imagine. Of course, you don't have to use it every single paragraph, obviously, but intersperse it within your chapters, and don't use it, too much, but help your reader to imagine what their life could become after you share your story or share this skill that you're trying to teach them or you are teaching them, right? So use that word. Okay, hack number 3, write fast. One of the things that I got stuck in was in my very first book is that I was just writing and I was editing while I was writing. I was correcting my spelling. And I discovered a hack after that. After I published my book, I said, you know what? My second book, I'm not going to do that. So I want to encourage you, when you are writing your book, write fast. Just type fast, type really fast, and don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about your grammar. Just get everything that is inside of you at that moment out onto paper or out onto your computer. And then later, after you're done, with your particular, if you block off a chunk of time to write or type, then that's the time to edit or spell check. But while you're in the middle of writing, you know how what happens when if you try to correct your spelling in the middle, it just deprives you of that thought, right? And you lose momentum. That's the most important thing. You lose momentum, and I don't want you to do that. When you're in the flow, when you're in the zone, so to speak, you want to make sure that you're writing, just get everything down. Okay, that is hack number 3. Okay, now I want to share with you how to avoid one roadblock that stops people from ever publishing their book. Okay. And this is a huge roadblock, and it is the lone wolf roadblock. What is the lone wolf roadblock? Well, what is a lone wolf? A lone wolf is by itself, and in the middle of winter, it is isolated, and it could easily be, die of frostbite because it's going to freeze, and also it by itself, so it's isolated. There's no feedback. There's no, and for those who are authors that go it alone, this is going to happen. The lone wolf roadblock, and what happens is you get stuck, and when you feel overwhelmed, you just give up. I know some authors who are our coaching proteges and who are alumni now, that they were stuck for years and years because they were just by themselves, doing it all on their own, trying to figure it all out. And so that is a huge roadblock. We don't want you to be isolated when you write your books. We don't want you to feel, we don't want you to have zero feedback. We don't want you to have zero accountability. We don't want you to be by yourself or to go it alone, right? So that is one roadblock that we want for you to avoid. And here is the solution that Jim is my husband, that Jim and I came up with when we launched our very first masterclass, and it is synergy groups. Synergy groups. And Stephen R. Covey, he wrote the very popular bestseller, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he talked a lot about synergy. And what happens in synergy groups is when you are going and walking on this journey of book writing and publishing with 2 other people or 3 other people, it is amazing how much you get accomplished and how much encouragement you get, how much feedback you get, and also, very important, you get accountability, because that's what stops most people is they're by themselves and they never ever get their book written, right? Okay, let's move on because I have a lot more to cover. I want to share with you 5 steps in writing and publishing your bestseller. By the way, for those of you who stick around with me to the very end, I have a bonus for you. Okay, 5 steps in writing in writing and publishing your bestseller. Number 1, plan your book. Here's a question. When you're planning your book, what are the outcomes that you want your reader to have by the time they finish, say, for example, chapter 5? What do you want the outcome to be when they finish reading your entire book? So ask yourself, when you're planning your book, what are the outcomes that you want your reader? Well, hopefully you're going to have a lot of readers, but target one reader, have that one reader fixed in your mind, and then you'll have all the many. Okay. So what is the outcome that you want for your reader and your readers, your audience, to have by the end of your book? Also, are you going to be sharing skills? Do you have a skill, something that you've learned over the years and you want to share with other people? So when you're planning your book, think about that. What are the solutions that you're going to be sharing with your readers? Okay. Or are you going to write another kind of book where you're sharing life lessons? Okay. Are you going to be sharing life lessons, or are you going to be sharing legacy stories? I'm in the middle of completing my next book, and it's going to be my legacy book about the life lessons that I've learned. And I'm going to be passing this on to our children, and hopefully a lot of people can also benefit from it. But my main goal in writing this upcoming book is for our children and our grandchildren and so on and so forth, right? So when you plan your book, ask yourself, what are the things that you're going to include in your book? Number 2, write or speak your book. You can type out your book, which I have done, or you can also record on your smartphone or your digital recorder your book, or you can also record on a digital platform. Now, my phone, there is an Android, and those of you who have iPhones, there are apps galore for both Android and iPhones, any smartphone, for digital recording, your audio recording, your voice. So you can take advantage of that. You can record one chapter at a time or whatever, however much memory you have on your phone, right? So you can use that, or you can invest in a digital recorder, or you can record on a digital platform. Right now, I am on Google Hangouts. You can use Google Hangouts to record your book, or you can also use, I think you can record Skype calls. So you can record yourself on a Skype call, and you may have to invest in some software to do that. But pick one of these things. Now, the reason why I said speak your book is because some folks are intimidated about writing. And here is what I say to those of you who are maybe not sure about whether or not you can write a book. If you can talk, you can write a book. Because I don't want you to write a book that is so boring, like a textbook from grade school, high school, or college. You want to write a book that is engaging, a book that you feel like the author is just sitting across from you on, you're across from the author having coffee. So you're just talking. So that's why I say write or speak your book. I have done that where I have recorded myself, and then when I recorded myself, I just have the recording, the MP3 or the audio file transcribed, and then there is the main content of my book. Okay. Number 3, polish up your book. What is involved in this step? Well, that's where you get to edit your book. You can add chapters, or you can subtract chapters from the book. You can get your photo taken, right? Because you're like Barbara. Barbara has her photo right there, and I have had my photo taken. And you don't have to get really fancy. You don't have to schedule a professional photo session. But here's what Jim and I have in the back of our book. So you may want to consider that. You don't have to. It's not a requirement, but it's an option. You may want to have your photograph taken. You can also think about whether or not you want to include a foreword. Now, these are optional. But this is one thing that you really might want to have: your bio, a short bio, and also praise from others. What does that mean? Well, you can send a draft of your book to your close family members and also your close friends, and have them give their reviews. It doesn't have to be long. It could be 2 sentences, and then you can put them at the back of your book. So that's what's involved in polishing up your book. In our book here, we had some of the reviews from those who read the draft of our book. And so that's what we did. Okay, number 4, step number 4. This is the exciting part. Publish your book, the Kindle version and the paperback version. I cannot describe to you the exhilaration of holding my own book and having it in my hands, and also the exhilaration that I feel when our coaching proteges hold up their books. And when we do our launch parties, our virtual launch parties, they hold up their book, and I feel like a proud mama. I'm just beaming from ear to ear, just so proud of our students, our alumni, right? So that's part of step number 4, publish your book. And let me tell you a very short story. One of our dear coaching proteges and a dear friend, Dr. Becky, the very first time she authored her book, we went back and forth. She finished it. She uploaded it on Kindle, on Amazon KDP, and she filled out everything that we have taught her to do. And she did not want to press the publish button, right? So she told me that I did this and that, this and that, this and that, but she was hesitant. And so I emailed back once, and she emailed back again. Then I emailed her a second time, and I said, Dr. Becky, please just press that publish button. And she did so. And guess what happened? A mere 12 hours after that, her book hit number 5 on Amazon. And then when we promoted her book, she hit number 1 on Amazon. Okay. So that is my story. One of my stories, my dear friend, Dr. Becky. That's what happened when she was in step 4, published her book. And she finally published her book. And it was such an exhilarating moment for both of us. Okay. Number 5, promote your book. Your book is like a baby. You don't just leave it on someone's doorstep and just don't care for it, right? So we teach our students, our coaching proteges, what happens in promotion? Pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. And that is part of step number 5. So those are the 5 steps in writing and publishing your bestseller. Okay, now I want to move on to, let's see here. I want to move on. Let's see here. Karen is asking a question. Can photos be taken with smartphone? Absolutely. You know, the cameras on your smartphones are so high definition. It's unbelievable. The cameras here are on your smartphone are equivalent to cameras that were worth millions of dollars in the um, early and mid 80s. So if you have a smartphone, you can definitely use your smartphone to take your photo. All right. Okay. Well, I am going to share a little bit more, and then I hope you're taking notes. And I want to move on to the 7 game-changing outcomes of writing and publishing your book or your book series. I want to plant a seed. I want you to know that most, if not all of you, have more than one book inside of you. And that's what has happened to many of our alumni. They have joined us in the next masterclass and then have been part of synergy groups so that they could author their second book, right? So here are the 7 game-changing outcomes of writing and publishing your book or your book series. Number 1, instead of selling, you are prescribing or recommending. Once you have published your book, people view you as an authority. People see you as an expert. And instead of you selling, whether you are an owner, whether you're an owner of a small business, a brick and mortar business, or an online business, or whether you sell jewelry or whatever it is that you sell, or whatever it is that you want to do, you can use your book to promote and to educate your reader about what it is that you're promoting or you're selling, right? So instead of selling, you are just going to be prescribing because you're viewed as an authority in your subject matter. So instead of selling, you're viewed as prescribing. You can just prescribe or recommend. Number 2, you boost your authority. Absolutely, bar none. You boost your authority right away. People see you. Uh, they view you as somebody who knows what they're talking about. Once you get your book, once you get your book, they view you as an authority on the subject that you are writing about. Number 3, you establish your reputation. I know that when Dr. Becky, after she wrote her very first book, she was immediately invited when people found out that she had her book. She was invited to be a keynote speaker in a conference. So she immediately established her reputation. Number 4, you increase your credibility. Number 5, you build your platform. Okay? When you author your book, you become known as somebody who is credible, right? And you also build your reputation because you can talk all you want, and I can talk all I want, but there's something about having your own book. There's something about having your own book. This is Dr. Becky's book, her second book, The Ultimate Treasure Hunt. And there's something about having your book. Number 6, doors open up. And number 7, you exponentially grow your exposure. One of our graduates, Pamela, who authored Dare to Dream, those 2 books, she increased her exposure. And also one of our other authors, Bill Fudale, he was able to do his own book signing event, and he was able to gain exposure. And he was interviewed by his local, by a local newspaper, and Dr. Becky and Bill were interviewed by radio shows, right? Okay, so you immediately exponentially grow your exposure. All right, well, you're saying, okay, I want to write my book. I want 2017 to be the year where I avail of the grace and the acceleration for publishing. I want to write my book. Well, here are 3 of the fastest ways that I have found when writing my books. So I want to share this with you. 3 fastest ways to write your book. Number 1, the mind map method. What is that? Well, some of you are more methodical, where you use the typical outline method, Roman numeral number 1, As for your first chapter, capital letter A, which is a subtopic in your chapter, number one, which is your bullet point, and maybe small letter A, right? Like maybe an example of that particular bullet point. But others of you are more out of the box, more creative. And so a mind map is simply this. If you don't know what a mind map is, it's simply this. You have your central thesis or your thesis statement at the center, and then there are these lines that come out, and all these are subtopics of your central thesis, right? And let's see here. From those subtopics, there are also subtopics, and those can be the subtopics of your chapters. So when you have a mind map, you don't have to have it all in order. You can put this chapter and you can think about another idea and say, oh, I can also write that. So you write down that idea, which is part of supporting your thesis statement or your central message or your main topic. And then from there, you can look at, okay, these are all the ideas that I have to support my thesis statement. And then you can start writing down, okay, this is what I want to be chapter one. You can just start numbering them, right? And then you can also put down the bullet points underneath those chapter smaller branches. Okay, so the mind map method will work for some of you. Okay, number two, the index card to interview method. I love method number two. Let me show you what I mean by the index card to interview method. You take some index cards, just take maybe about 20. And what you do is at the front, you write down your chapter title. Okay, so you just write down on the front your chapter title. And at the back of that card, so here it says the front, you write down the chapter title. At the back of the card, you write down 3 bullet points or 3 questions that you want to answer in that chapter. And you go on writing out, chapter title, another chapter title, and at the back, write down the 3 questions that you want to answer in that chapter. And what's cool about this index card method is it's unlike you have it on a computer where you have to cut and paste. This is so easy where you just look at it and then you say, oh, this one should be number 2, and chapter number 2 instead of chapter number 7. This one I think should move back there. And so you're just rearranging it. And then once you have the index cards in order, guess what? All you have to do is call somebody, a friend, maybe a colleague, and then they can start interviewing you. They'll just say chapter 1 and they'll state the chapter title, and then you start recording it on your digital recorder or your smartphone or your recording device, right? Or if you're on Skype and you have the software to record, then you can be on Skype and record that interview. So they go, okay, chapter 1, this is the title, da 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 da, and they start asking you the questions at the back. And because it's a conversation, it is so much more easy. It is easier to read a book that is conversational as opposed to a book that is tedious, boring, textbook-like. It's just, people wouldn't want to buy your book if, or recommend your book if you write not conversationally. So when you answer all those questions, guess what? After the interview, that's the meat of your book, and you can just start editing from there, right? Okay, so that is the index card to interview method. What do you think about that? You think you could use that? I like that method because I've authored some. Here's what I did. Was it last year? I can't remember now, but I interviewed my parents and I sent to them some questions that I wanted them to answer. And I recorded the interview through Google Hangouts. And from there, I had the video transcribed. And so now I'm in the process of editing the book, and I want to make sure that I do a good job, and I want to publish their book, my parents' book. They co-authored. So I want to give it to them as a gift, that they'll have their book in their hands, hopefully, Lord willing, this year. Okay, number 3, this is a powerful method, the 7x7 method. What is the 7x7 method? Well, it's simply this. Let me put down these index cards over there. Okay, the 7x7 method is simply this. You, as the expert in your topic, you write down 7 of the most frequently asked questions. People come up to you and ask you this and that, and these are 7 of the most frequently asked questions. And this other 7 are what I call SAQs. Now, I learned this method through another coach, and but he had a. I'm tweaking it more for our audience. He had a different number, but anyway, I like 7 by 7. The 7 SAQs. SAQ meaning should ask questions. What are should ask questions? You might wonder. Well, these are the questions that you, as the expert, know that those people ask you, the frequently asked questions, should be asking you, but they don't even know to ask that because they're not the expert. But you, being the expert, you know the types of questions that they could be asking you and that they should be asking you. And so you write down your the should ask questions. And then once you have those questions down, then you can combine it with the index card to interview method. You write those questions down on index cards, right? And then that's the question. And then you write down the answers to the frequently asked questions as well as the should ask questions. And here's the cool thing about this. Each question could be one chapter in your book. So if you do 7 by 7, you'll have 14 chapters. Now, it doesn't have to be 7 by 7, and it doesn't have to be, it could be 5 frequently asked questions and 3 should ask questions, or it could be any combination. But I just like 7. I like the number 7, so I just put 7 by 7. And so then after you do that, then that's your book. You just answer the questions. You can cite some testimonials or case studies of that particular question so that they can know, okay, this is what the author means by when they answer the question. You can cite examples, case studies, etc., even testimonials under that one question alone, right? So I hope that you're gaining a lot of value. All right. Okay. Now let's move on. We are now to the 7 problems. 7 problems that plague most authors. Number 1. Okay, let me just hold up the card again. That way I'm not going too fast. I like to go fast, but not too fast, right? Number 1 problem is the problem of overwhelm. I remember when I was writing my very first book, and here's the story, one of the stories I wanted to share with you today. When I was typing my first book, putting it on computer, on a Word document, I was up to 184 pages. I'm talking about 8.5 by 11 pages, single spaced. If I printed it out, it would be single spaced. 186 pages. It's too much. And I was just overwhelmed. Which should I include? Which should I not include? This is going to be a War and Peace novel if I don't stop, right? So I was overwhelmed. The many nights I was frustrated. I almost seriously wanted to give up. Many nights. Number 2, perfectionism. Perfectionism. Some authors don't ever want to publish their books because they found another error. Folks, perfectionism is like a horizon line. The horizon, you never get to the horizon, right? So we live in a fallen world and we will never, ever reach perfection. There might be books out there that are completely perfect, but that's after, 3, 4 editors went through it with a fine tooth comb, right? But my very first book, I found, I think, 1 or 2 spelling errors, very, very minor, but it was to me, it was an imperfect book, but nonetheless it reached bestseller status. So perfectionism is a problem that plagues some authors. Number 3, fear of failure, or perhaps fear of rejection. What if people don't like my book? Number 4, intimidation. People have already written on this topic. Why would they want to buy my book? So the author feels intimidated, right? What else? Number 5, confusion. How do I get from point A, my idea, to point Z, where I actually have a book published? They get confused. Like, what is the first step? What is the second step, right? What is the third step? Okay. So there's confusion. That's a problem that has plagued some authors. What else? Number 5, wrong mindset. There is sometimes people think I need to take 2 months off, 2 months off and go to a mountain cabin somewhere and just write my book, right? All of our graduates, all of them who become published authors and have become best-selling authors, they have jobs, they have families, they have social obligations, right? So none of them had to go to a mountain cabin and lock themselves for 2 months to write a book. So that's one of the wrong mindsets that has stopped people from, that has plagued some authors. Number 7, procrastination. Sometimes it doesn't feel good to write, and we have some. I'm going to give you a key right now to defeat procrastination. The When you're in a synergy group and you see colleagues of yours who are writing their chapters, you will be accountable to them, and that is one of the things that will stop procrastination. What else can stop procrastination? Well, we recommend that you write your book during the most productive hours of your day. What is the most productive hour or hours? What are the most productive hours of your day? You'll know that. Are you a morning person or are you a night person? Do you feel most productive in the early morning, say from 5 to 6, or is it from 10 to 11? If you're working, well, perhaps block off, your weekend from 10 to 11 on Saturday, and maybe from maybe 8 to 9 on Sunday or something like that. I'm going to block off that time to write my book. So to stop procrastination, you'll want to be accountable, and you'll also want to block off the most productive hours so that you can feel really productive. Okay. And also, one more thing, one more key: use a timer. Use a timer, and that'll motivate you. When you see the timer counting down, you'll definitely want to just write. Okay. All right. The next one is 7 problems with other book writing and publishing programs. Now, there are many, many, many wonderful book writing and publishing programs out there. Some of them have problems, though, and we've been keeping track. And some of them are too complicated. There's one that has, I think, hundreds of hours of video. It's just ridiculous. Who wants to watch hundreds of hours of video just to write a book? We don't want you to have to go through that. Okay. Number 2, gaps in the program. Some programs want you to invest in an upsell, what they call an upsell. So they'll sell you their program, but then, there's something else. If you want to do something else, if you want the paperback version, you have to buy another part of, another package that complements this package, right? You buy package A, but I want to sell you package B to help you learn how to publish your book on paperback, right? So some of them have gaps, or some of them don't teach you how to become best-selling authors, right? So there are gaps. Number 3, you're with co-authors who don't share your values. This is prevalent right now. They'll have you author a book with a celebrity. Okay, I'm not going to name names because you'll know the programs I'm talking about. They'll have you author a book with a celebrity, but come to find out, the other co-authors of that book, yes, the celebrity will have his chapter and you'll have one measly chapter, but you'll find out that the other co-authors of that book don't share your values, right? So one friend of mine did that, and he confidentially shared with me. I'm not going to tell you his name, so you don't know who he is. He shared with me that he doesn't want to use that book to promote his business. Why? Because there are chapters in that book by other co-authors that completely have values that are completely against his. So he's not proud of that book, and he doesn't use it. To him, it's just he just can say that he's written a book, but he doesn't ever get to use it to build his authority, establish his reputation, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you're with co-authors who don't share your values. Number 4, someone else publishes for you, or someone else publishes your book. Now, there's nothing wrong with that per se, but that adds up to your costs. The publisher also gets control of your book. And if you want to promote your book, guess what? You'll have to go through them and pay them some more money. You'll have to shell out some more just for them to promote your book, especially Kindle, because Kindle has the free Kindle promo and also the Kindle countdown. They have those kinds of promos available. So if you want to do that, if you want to use the promo, which is allowed every, I believe, 3 months on Kindle, you'll have to go through your publisher, and then they'll say, okay, you'll have to shell out more money for me to do the promo. Whereas if you publish your own, if you learn how to publish your own book, you don't have to do that. Number 5, the programs out there are too costly. And some of these that I'm talking about have gaps. And this one, oh my goodness, this one, I have a story about that. One of our coaching alumni, by the way, I just want to honor him. He passed away last year. He passed away 2 months after he reached bestseller status. And it was 2 months after he experienced finally getting his paperback book into time space reality. You know how long he had his book inside of him, locked up inside of him? 30 years. 30 years. And last year, he got his book published. He self published it and he reached bestseller status. And then 2 months after that, he passed away. And so I just want to honor him. And he had invested in a program that cost him $17,000. And guess what he got stuck with? He got stuck with boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes, stacks and stacks of boxes of his book that he couldn't sell. And he has a garage full of that other book that he published through that, and he paid $17,000. And I really felt so bad for him. And then so when he joined us in last year's masterclass, he was so happy because he finally got the book that he really wanted to get out, because the publisher had so many edits that he didn't particularly care for. He self-published and then he got it to bestseller status, and then 2 months later he passed away. So I just want to honor him for that. Okay. Another problem: you go it alone. Many of the programs out there, you're a lone wolf. You're a lone wolf, and you'll never experience the power of synergy groups. You'll never experience the accountability. You'll never have all the components that come with the program that we have, okay? The system that we have. And number 7, they don't teach you how to become a best-selling author, okay? They'll tell you, okay, why don't you invest $3,000 with us, $2,000, $19.97, whatever. But no, we don't teach you how to become a best-selling author. This is just to get your book published. Well, we help you do all of that, okay? So my question to you is, after you know that the prophetic word is 2017 will have an increased grace and acceleration for publishing, my question to you is, are you ready to make 2017 the year you write and publish your book? I want to see some yeses. Are you ready? Are you going to avail of the grace and acceleration that's available to you this year, according to the prophetic word by Lana Vauser? Okay. Well, would you like to become one of our success stories, the success stories that I've shared with you? And would you like to discover and implement the secret formula so that you could become an Amazon best-selling author, right? Well, I'm getting responses. Don says, yes. Joanne says, yes. Rachel, absolutely. Bobby says, yes, Lord. Barbara says, yes, God. Leslie says, absolutely. Sonia says, this is my year. Don says, yes. Awesome. One last question. Are you committed to doing whatever it takes in investing the time, following and investing in a proven system to write and publish your book? Oh my goodness, your book, right? This year. This is the year to do it. Oh my goodness. Are you ready? Well, I'm just going to share with you that I've covered. Did I deliver on what I promised that I would share with you today? I hope I have. And I'm going to share with you my screen for just a moment here, because let's see here. I want to go to just a moment here. I want to, okay, let me go back to, bear with me here, folks. We are in technology here. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now, okay? Barbara says, yes, with your anointing with me. Awesome. Okay. All righty. Well, one quote from the New York Times: according to a survey, 81% of Americans feel they have a book in them and that they should write it. But guess what happens? Most never do. I don't want you to be the most that never do. So I want to reveal to you your 90-day book launchpad. This is a masterclass that Jim and I have co-created. And in week number 1, it's a 12-week program. And you're probably wondering, why 90 days? Well, we've found out that in 90 days, the high performance coaches who coach Olympic athletes, and they find that 90 days is the ideal time for people to reach peak performance, right? Also, 90 days is typically one season, right? A business quarter is typically 90 days, okay? So in week number 1, you're going to formulate your message. Week number 2, you're going to get to do market research. Now, it doesn't sound boring, we're going to make it fun. So in week number 2, you're going to do market research because you want to know who your audience is, right? Week number 3, you get to write 20% of your book. And like I've mentioned, you don't have to actually write it. You could talk, you could dictate your book. You could use the index card to interview method. You could use the 7x7, right? And week number 4, you write up to 50% of your book. Folks, we have graduates who've done this. So you're not alone, and don't feel intimidated because it's not that difficult. If you can talk, you can write your book. Week number 5, 70% of your book. Week number 6, you could write up to 100% of your book. But don't feel like, oh my goodness, 6 weeks, don't feel don't feel intimidated by that. Because guess what? In week 7, you get to polish up your book. You get to add a chapter, or you could you could subtract a chapter. Week number 8, you get to read your book and do a second draft of your book. So there is a margin. There's margin here. There's grace. Okay. Week number 9, you get to finish writing your book. And then week number 10, we ask you to get your book cover and your book formatted for publishing. How exciting. Week number 10, right? Week 11 and 12. Week 11, you publish your book. And week number 12, you get to promote your book. Now, here's a picture of some of our graduates. There's Dr. Becky Slaybaugh, Bill Fudale, Jane Huff, Pamela Pollock. And here's just a picture of Pamela when she reached bestseller status in educational counseling. She was the one who authored her first book was Dare to Dream. Now she has a second book, which I showed you a while ago. And then I want you to become a top Amazon best-selling author. I'm going to use the word imagine. Imagine what would it feel like when you can introduce yourself as a best-selling author, when you're being interviewed on a radio show, or when you're being interviewed by a newspaper, or when you're being interviewed on a podcast. They could introduce you as, I'm going to use Dawn, for example. Dawn, a best-selling author of the book, blank, ABC book, right? So imagine how it would feel like when you become a top Amazon best-selling author. You could boost your reputation, establish your authority, build your credibility. And then those of you who are in business, you could use your book as the ultimate branding and positioning tool. And then those of you who are going to be writing your legacy books, you could leave your legacy. Okay. You could share your life lessons, tell your unique personal stories, write and publish your book, and leave your legacy. I'm going to bring back up again the gentleman last year who passed away. He was so happy that he was able to leave his legacy, a best-selling book. Now his family are the beneficiaries of his legacy book, right? Okay, well, week number 1 to 6 can easily be valued at 2,497. Week 7 and 8, about a 1,497 value. Weeks number 9 and 10, 997. Weeks 11 and 12, a 797 value. And that would be a grand total of 5,788. But you're not going to invest in that, nor are you going to invest 4,385 or 2,497. Okay. You're not even going to invest $19.97 like many of the programs out there that don't even teach you how to become a best-selling author, or don't even provide you with a synergy group, or some of the other things that I'm going to be mentioning. You're not even going to invest $1,297, and you're not going to invest $797. Folks, no, I'm not here to scam you or be a person of hype or be somebody who is going to milk you for all you have. No, I want you to get your book out, okay? For today only, up to the 9th of January, you get the special VIP package, and it's only going to be $597. And we even have a 2-payment plan. Okay. And here's a fast action bonus for those of you who are going to invest the first 3, and I'm going to pop up the button to click. I'm going to give you your done for you Kindle book cover. I'm going to pay for that Kindle book cover for you for the first 3 who invest. And the first 5 who invest, I'm going to get on a live group coaching session with the 5 of you to come up with a grab readers by the eyeballs title and subtitle. Okay, that's the bonus for the first 5 to invest. So Uh, that's the for limited time 597, and but wait, there's more. For those of you invest, you're going to get 6 live coaching and Q&A sessions with me. I'm a multiple number 1 international best-selling author. This is so vital because when you're in the middle of your book writing journey, you need somebody who's been there. You'll want to run something by somebody who has the experience, right? So some of the book publishing courses out there, it's just a done, you just do it yourself. It's a DIY, do it yourself. They don't provide you with your synergy groups. They don't provide you with live coaching. Then you will be placed in your own synergy group. I'm going to place you with your own synergy group. That right there, folks, is huge because it completely demolishes the lone wolf roadblock, right? You will also be inside a private Facebook community with our alumni who are best-selling authors, and also those of you who are future best-selling authors. You're going to be inside that private Facebook community. And here's the game changer, folks. With this 597 investment, this is the game changer. You will be part of a virtual launch party on April the 8th to launch your book. I put a hashtag. This alone is worth 5 times your investment. Seriously, the book programs out there will not let you, they will not host a virtual launch party with your book. You'll have to pay maybe another several $1,000s, or you're going to have to attend a live event. You're going to pay for airfare. You're going to have to go to a hotel room, and they may not even teach you how to become a bestseller, right? So that's the game changer. Okay. All right. And here's the link, but I'm going to pop it up right now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I'm going to pop up the button to click. All right. And by the way, stick around because I also have a bonus for you. Don't forget, I have a bonus for you. So here is the button to click, and it says, I don't want to waste any more time. I do not want to waste any more money. All right. Like I've shared with you, some have paid $17,000 and didn't even reach bestseller. And it wasn't the book that they wanted because the publisher edited so many things out, right? And I want to hold up my paperback book in my hands this year. I'm going to show you some of the books of our students. Here's a book by Michael, College Planning, the 10 Biggest Mistakes and How You Can Avoid Them. He reached bestseller in several categories. These are 2 books, like I've shared with you. Some of our folks have joined us for a couple of master classes. This is by Jane Huff, and she wrote An Intimate Look at the Armor of God and God Speaks by Jane Huff. And then Bill Fudale, he authored From Zero to Six-Figure Sales with these 5 game-changing strategies. Okay, and then after that, he also authored Personal Foul, Unnecessary Roughness, because he is a football coach. And then, of course, Carmen, I believe Carmen is here with us live. She authored Overcoming Trauma Without Completely Falling Apart. And Carmen is a cool senior. Look, Carmen has her photo. And if Carmen can do it, folks, you can do it too, okay? I want to encourage you. And then Pamela, of course, she has Dare to Dream. She authored 2 books back to back. She joined one master class, and then right after that, she joined the other master class, and then launched her second book. And then let's see here. Of course, Barbara, who is with us today, Lean In Closer with God Because You Can. And Dr. Becky, she authored 2 books. Okay, 2 books. Now I'm going to take questions, and please stick around because I'm going to take some questions. But before I do, I'm going to show you a video that, let's see here. Okay, I'm just going to load a video up, and I'll be right back with you, okay? Okay, we are back. All right. I want to give you, for those of you who are with me live, I want to give you a bonus. And I am going to, let's see here. Okay. Before I give you the bonus, I want to do one last poll here. All right. Well, a couple of polls. What type of book, what type of book would you like to author first? You know why I asked this question? Because many of you, if not all of you, who are watching me live or on the replay, you have many books inside of you. Some of you have skills that you want to pass on. Some of you have life lessons that you want to put into a book format and leave for the next generations, for your kids, your grandkids, right? So what would you like to write first? Okay, because you can always do the second and the third, etc. So I'm going to ask you that question. Do you want to write a nonfiction marketing book for your business? If you own, say, a brick and mortar business or an online business, would you like to use your book? I've used this book. I've sent it to some of our some local businesses and have gotten a lot of new customers that way. I've used this. Excuse me. And then, or do you want to write a biography first? Okay. So I'm going to end this poll in 5 moments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so far, 20% want to use their books for a nonfiction marketing book as a lead generator for their business. 20% want to write a biography or their autobiography. 20% want to write a nonfiction book to teach and train their readers on some skills that they know. That is fantastic. And some want to write a nonfiction legacy book. They want to leave their life lessons and the stories. The stories, those are so important to the next generations. 40%. I am so glad to hear that. You know, I will have one more story to share. I had a friend, and she contacted me shortly after her dad passed away. And I was heartbroken, not just because her dad passed away, but more importantly, because her dad had always told my friend that he had wanted to write several books. And that broke my heart because he could have done it. We could have helped him, but I didn't know about it until my friend told me this, right? So I don't want your story to die, or be in a graveyard somewhere. I want your story to be published in time, space, reality. And that's really my heart. So I'm so glad to see that 40% of you want to write a legacy book. And those of you who want to share your skills, that's also, you could consider that as a book that you can pass on to not just your readers, but also your children and grandchildren, right? Awesome. And of course, those who are going to write their autobiographies or a biography, and those who want to use their books for lead generation for their business. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to first remove the offer. By the way, if you click on the orange button, it'll open up in a different tab, and then you can leave that tab open. Okay. And let me show you my bonus. I'm going to first remove this particular one. Let's see the bonus. Let's see here. I want to give you the Kindle version of my book, Jim and my book, your 21st century business card. I want you to have it. I want to put it in your hands, whether or not you invest in our system. I hope that you do. I hope that you will really consider the prophetic word and tether yourself to the prophetic word. 2017 will have an increased grace and acceleration for publishing, right? So if, say, for example, you feel like, oh, maybe I don't have the finances. Guess what? You will get the grace. You could ask for sponsors to sponsor you through this program, through this system, this proven system, right? So I want you to get a free copy, the Kindle version, not the paperback, the Kindle version of this book. And here's my only request. For those of you who get the free copy today, would you be open to leaving a 5-star review on the Kindle, on Amazon, please? That would really, really bless me. I hope that you gained a lot of value. I hope I've delivered massive value to you today. And so when you do download the Kindle version of this book, our international best-selling book, would you kindly leave a 5-star review? Jim and I would be so, so grateful. We would be eternally grateful. So please get your copy. Click that orange button. I'm going to leave it up for a few more moments. And then in the meantime, I want to take some questions. Dawn said, this webinar has been valuable and has allowed me to gather my thoughts and plan. Leslie says, yes, I am in. Jada says, yes, thank you very much, Jackie. Barbara wants to know if there's an alumni rate. Yes, Barbara, for those of you who are alumni, you will have an alumni rate. Okay, Karen says, this is exciting. Awesome. And Joanne says, amazing amount of information I sense I can write now. Wonderful. Please reach out to your friends. If you feel like maybe the investment level is a bit higher than you would want, there's a 2 payment plan, by the way. And so if you can do the one-time investment, do a 2-time, or ask for your relatives, for your friends to sponsor you through this program, this system. The classes start on Monday. Dawn is grateful for the webinar. Okay, I'm going to please get our best-selling book. Click on the orange button. I'm going to put back the Your 90-Day Book Launchpad offer again. So click on get my free copy of the book 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to pop up the all right, the offer. And while we're doing this, I'm going to show you another video, and then we're going to take any questions that you might have, okay? I'm going to take any questions that you might have. Here we go. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. These are Pamela's books. I want to share that with you. And all right, if you have any questions, I would love to answer some of your questions. I'm going to be with you for a few more moments. And by the way, the offer is good until January 9 because I want you to start diving in, and I want to form the synergy groups by no later than Tuesday. Okay, and some of you are already in. I'm going to be putting you together with in the synergy groups. All righty. Okay, great. If you don't have any questions, I am going to, let's see here. Did I do the other poll? One more poll. Are you committed? Are you committed to doing whatever it takes to finally author and publish your book in 2017? Because this year you're going to have increased grace and acceleration for publishing. Okay. All right. Please just click on the button, yes or no, and then I'm going to end the poll. All right, I'm going to end the poll in just a few more moments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, 100% of you who participated said, yes, I'm ready. Awesome. Well, I'm going to be forming the synergy groups, and I'm going to be doing live coaching with you. And by the way, please mark your calendars because April, I'm looking at my calendar over there. Sorry if I'm not looking at directly at you. April the 8th, we are going to have, as part of this investment, as part of the package, the VIP package, you will be part of the virtual launch party. And we definitely make it such an amazing party. So please, please, please make sure that you mark that on your calendar. And by the way, those of you who have been in synergy groups, the testimonials are incredible. You've made lifetime friends, and the synergy group has great feedback, right? So let me see here. Okay, I am going to put up one testimonial here from Dr. Becky. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. All right. Well, I want to take some questions. If you don't have questions, I'm going to bid you adieu, and I look forward to being with you on the 6 live coaching calls that we're going to be having. It'll be one every 2 weeks because because inside the portal you'll already have some pre-recorded coaching sessions we did from the last masterclass, so that it's not going to be overwhelming. Okay, so that you'll want to watch each coaching session for each week, because I did 12 weeks of coaching sessions in the last masterclass. So you'll want to digest that, because I delivered a lot of value in each coaching session. And then on every 2 weeks, we're going to take we're going to have live coaching sessions, so that your specific questions, if you have a specific question, say for example, it's your an example you want, or a testimonial you want, or you have a question about what to include in your book, I can take those questions. Okay, so it'll be 6 live coaching sessions, plus your synergy groups, plus the virtual book launch party. And we will have such a blast, and you will be able to hold up your books like all these authors have. Look at all these books that I have in my hand. It's just too much. I can't carry all of them. But you'll be able to hold up your book and say, I have authored and published my book. And not only that, I was able to get it to bestseller status. And, people can now call you and be part of your bio, your best-selling author. Okay. All righty. Well, I'm going to bid you adieu, but I'm going to, if you still want to stick around, I can just hang out in the chat room with you. I'm going to end the broadcast. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And I look forward to really seeing you author and publish your book this year. Please tether yourself to this prophetic word. Please don't take this for granted. And by the way, I only do this masterclass, Jim, and I only do this once a year, only every January. So let 2017 be the year that you finally author and publish your book, and not just the Kindle version, but also the paperback version, and get it to bestseller status. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Carmen. Thanks, Leslie. All right. I'm going to end the broadcast, and I'll see you in the live coaching sessions. And also, I'll see you inside the private Facebook community. Goodbye, everybody. Lord bless you.